Hi, my name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Museum Open House. This ongoing series features and highlights many of the outstanding museums and other cultural institutions. The main purpose of most programs is to inform viewers about current and upcoming exhibits, various programs, resources, and other opportunities that are available for the general public. Today, via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guests Christine Brotrus, Jordan Cromwell, and Robert Cronin, all of whom are associated with the outstanding exhibition at the Museum of Fine Arts entitled Curated by Teens, Death as a Constant Companion, which is on display until November 30th. Christine is the Senior Director of Community Engagement at the MFA. Jordan is an interpretive planner, and Robert is a freshman at UMass Boston and was one of 5 local high school students who, during the 2023-2024 school year, worked with the support of the MFA's Curatorial Study Hall program and the Center for Netherlandish Art to create this very engaging and extremely thoughtful exhibition of Dutch and Flemish artwork. During the program, we'll find out why and how the exhibition came about. We'll go on a behind-the-scenes tour, and in the process, come to better understand and appreciate the notion that death is an ever-present part of life, and how initiatives like this exemplify the MFA's commitment to youth engagement and intergenerational dialogue. Let's start by meeting our guest and then hearing all about Curated by Teens, Death as a Constant Companion. Welcome. So delighted you're all able to be here. You know, just last week, I had the wonderful opportunity to visit the exhibition, eager to find out more and have you inform viewers. To that end, before we look at some of the wonderful artwork and hear how it all came together, Jordan, could you start, please, by sharing how this idea came about of inviting high school students to curate a full exhibition connected with the Curatorial Study Hall program?
Yeah, of course. So curatorial study hall has existed for plenty of years now, somewhere between 5 and 10, and they've always done sessions where they work with curators in order to either bolster a exhibition or plan an exhibition themselves. There was Black Histories, Black Futures, which happened around the time of the pandemic, in which they curated a show. But during a conversation between the director of teen programs, Ron Carroll, and the director of the Center for Netherlandish Art, Chris Atkins, they were talking about how the Center for Netherlandish Art, there's a rotating gallery that works with various universities. The first iteration was with Northeastern, then with Brown, then with Yale. And in their conversation, they thought, ooh, we should work with the teens and we should allow them to create their own exhibition from the ground up. So it was just a lot of thinking about giving the teens agency and the power to just talk about what they wanted to talk about through the objects within that collection.
Terrific, terrific. Robert, why and how did you want to become involved with the Curatorial Study Hall program?
So I originally applied to be a summer intern at the museum, and I thought that curatorial study hall would be a great way to make some money over the summer
Hmm.
and maybe into the school year. And as soon as I started, I saw like how exciting is this gonna be. And I was just so excited about the new project that I kept going until the next summer. So summer, then the school year, and then the next summer I stayed.
Christine, what was some of the initial thoughts to just establish this type of collaboration in the first place between teens and the museum?
So it falls within, I guess, the larger umbrella of team programs and how we are hoping or wishing to develop work skills, leadership skills, transferable skills for teens. So there are a number of internships that we do have for our teens, and Curatorial Study Hall is one of them. And I think a lot of it came down to wanting to, I guess, think about our future scholarship, our future scholars, and um, providing those opportunities for teens to understand how museums work and function. And this is one component, curation, exhibition design, interpretation, is one aspect of how museums work and function. Of course, we have a whole range of jobs that make museums work.
Robert, what drew you and your fellow collaborators to approach death, not as tragedy, but as a companion? Very interesting spin.
Yeah, so we noticed that a lot of people fear death when really it's something that all of us deal with. So we wanted to show that death isn't just something to be really scared of, but something that is like a natural way of life. So we went and we found all those different pieces, and we were like, well, this shows so people eat off of death. It's a way of survival. It's not just something to be scared of.
And before we continue, would you please point out who we're seeing in the picture here with you who worked on the exhibition?
Yes. So starting from the left, we have Nicole, then me, then Rafaela, then Micah, and then Eliza.
Terrific, terrific. Jordan, what was your and your fellow colleagues' first impression of the topic, the theme of death as a constant companion, going forward with the exhibition?
Uh, I can't say that came out of left field, but there were a lot of sessions where we were just showing the teens what was in the collection, and they were thinking about plenty of themes for a while. There were moments where it was like, let's think about evolutions of societies, let's try to work some Dutch landscapes and see what we can do with that. And then when they landed on death, I just went, yes, the teens are still emo, gotta love that. And yeah, no, I was all like on board and was just like, how can we break this down and how can we talk about this in a good way? So we got there, and that's what counts.
For sure, for sure. Before Robert gives us a tour of the exhibition, Jordan, can you share a little bit how you and your colleagues collaborated with the teams, what instruction guidance you provided when you might have held back, and how those dynamics worked throughout the exhibition process?
Yeah. So uh, teen programs, they have sessions. Back then, it was every Wednesday from about 4 to 7, and so me and Chris Atkins, the director of the Center for Netherlandish Art, we would take curatorial study hall and we would go down into various galleries, just talk about thinking about the experience for visitors. We would sometimes have label writing exercises,
Hmm.
and we also took them down into our collections to see some of the works in person. They were often really jazzed and got excited about that. And it was good to see them be so enthusiastic. There were days where we would take them into the Prince library so that they could see the works on paper,
Hmm.
see what other things they could work with. And it was just a lot of uh, essentially not necessarily telling them what to do, but a lot of guiding and a lot of just, hey, let's muse about this. There was uh, previously in the gallery where Death as a Constant Companion currently is, there were a lot of moments where I would take them through that previous iteration of uh, of the Yale exhibition that was there. And I was just like, all right, so people are going to be entering through both sides. And let's think about how visitors are going to experience that and what are they thinking about? And what do we want to do? Do we want the language to be very academic? Do we want it to be casual? There were a lot of moments where it's just like, hey, let's think about visitors need to sit. Do we want a bench? Because usually there isn't a bench in that gallery. And yeah, it was just a lot of letting the teens think for themselves. And like, we don't want to be like, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you're supposed to do it. We really wanted this to be a show run by the teens, created by the teens. And so it was just a lot of thought exercises more than anything.
Terrific, terrific. What a wonderful opportunity. Robert, for those who haven't had the chance to visit the exhibition, can you give us an overview of how things are laid out? And through some wonderful images that we have, we'll do a little virtual tour.
Okay, so from when you walk in from this angle, on your right, you have the skull that's an illusionary painting. So that's where I was working, where I tried to use the illusionary effects of the painting to connect to the swan that has actual decay on it. And then from that decayed swan, Rafaela saw the swan and was like, this connects to the animal. Oh, that was Eliza. Sorry. She saw the animal connected to the animal. And then this, I'm not familiar with the rest of it. It's been a little
Uh,
while.
what,
Um,
as we go through, what are some of the themes that you've hit upon that exemplify the artwork that is chosen?
okay. So there's a theme of the illusionary effects, and then there's using death as survival, which was you can see the carcass of a cow hung up and the dog drinking from the dead carcass. And then as we move around, there's the whisperings of the Sphinx that's there. And then they have the skulls, which shows the afterlife of death. And then, of course, the birds, the dead birds hung up on a wall. And then that right there is the wheel of death, which is the cycle of death, that death never stops and it doesn't have a beginning. And that's the dead fish that connects with the dead birds.
So animals and death, one of the themes running through.
Yes, and then the skulls.
And humans and death as another major part of the exhibit.
Yes. Sorry, I worked really with the swan. I wasn't really working with the prince or the humans in death, so I don't know as much about that.
I mean, Robert, I will say that you also did choose the whisperings of the Sphinx, and
I did that, but with that, because it was connected to the skulls.
Mhm.
yeah. And also, I remember in your label for Whispering of the Sphinx, you wanted to also just think about not just death in like human sense, but also the death of a society. And it was a wonderful pick for you to choose a painting outside of the Dutch collection, just to add some more variety.
Speaking of variety, we have a few images to zero in on and maybe hear a little bit from any of you why they were chosen, some of the features, and how it relates to the overall exhibit. The first one we have in front of us is night vanishing, time, death, and monstrous demons. Jordan or Robert, perhaps Christine, a little commentary on this piece?
I mean, yes. I want to say that Micah chose this painting, and essentially after they figured out their theme of death, and there were a lot of moments where it's like, okay, cool, animals and death, but how do we show humans in death? It also just became a moment where the team start looking for depictions where they could show humans in battle going against uh, either hunting and thinking about the concept of death as survival for humans, but also just going against the very concept of death itself. So that is why this painting here was chosen.
Mhm. Christine, what's been some of the reaction and feedback from visitors about the exhibition?
I think there's been a strong universal connection with the theme. I think it's something that we can all relate to. I know some people might be maybe in denial about this ultimately, but this is where we all end up. So yeah, I think, incredibly positive. I also think it's been wonderful to see how a number of other teen interns, how they have connected with the exhibition as well and continued to work with it. So beyond our teen curators, we've had teens who have worked with the community who are blind and low vision and have created tactiles for this
Ah,
exhibition to give, you know, people who are coming in for tactile experiences. So the dead fish tactile is amazing. I wish I had an image to show you, but it is
mm,
beautiful to see and touch. But also when the Whispering, was it the Whispering Sphinx, that piece, we had six of our teens be a part of Art in Bloom. Where they created an arrangement to go with that painting. So we were able to like continue working with this exhibition in like different ways and think about different
mm.
forms of engagement, and really think about our visitors and audiences and how they can enjoy the exhibition as well. So
How can, Christine, just continuing for a moment, how can this exhibition help museums going forward address difficult or maybe even taboo subjects?
I think when you are bringing in other voices into the mix, right? Outside of the curatorial voice, I think that is definitely a way to think about subjects or difficult subjects in different ways, and to so when you are bringing in voices that have those experiences or that kind of representation, it's I think a uh, another perspective, right? So it sort of helps democratize our way of thinking about how we're curating. I think, we not only saw how this program has impacted our teens and seen the valued skills that they've developed, but we've also seen the impact that it's had on our curators,
Mm,
or, on Jordan, for example, and thinking about the youth perspective, right? The youth voice. And it doesn't necessarily mean we're just talking about age. We could be just talking about, just the temporal way of thinking, younger. So it's just, and I think it's been really great to hear, even from our curators, how it has changed the way that they think about our visitors and our audiences and how they can approach their curatorial practice.
terrific. Picking up on that, Jordan, how has your participation in this collaboration informed what Christine was mentioning, your sort of outlook approach to curating an exhibit?
I mean, really, it just reinforced the approach I already have, and I believe that institutions can take different perspectives and really try to like freshen things up where we get outside of this realm of academia. And something I've said multiple times about the show to curators is just you're never going to see in introduction to an exhibition where the first sentence talks about Netflix documentaries or other things like that. And I just feel as though this show allowed curators to see that there are approachable means of engaging with visitors that we just haven't thought about, and just ways to think outside of the box. Robert choosing the not so great conditioned painting depicting the swans, and and trying to convey death not in the just corporeal sense, but more so in the condition of a painting is something that we probably would have never thought of. And having that idea and bringing it even to our director to get it approved was a wonderful choice. And yeah, it's like moments like that where I'm glad that we have these perspectives because we were allowed to think outside of the box.
Wonderful, wonderful. Robert, what was maybe the most empowering aspect of this for you to see your ideas represented in a museum, a major museum's gallery?
Yeah. So I've been going to the museum since I was little. For that aspect, that I saw something that I really worked hard for in an exhibit. And also, when I was choosing the swan and I brought it up and I kept pushing for it, it made me feel like they were really listening to me and my voice and what I want to convey in the exhibition and not just following the same standards as the rest of the exhibitions within the museum, because they let us have that freedom to choose what we want to put in.
Terrific, terrific. How has working on the project perhaps shaped your view of art, history, or even mortality itself?
Yeah, so I think I feel more comfortable with death, if that makes sense. Like, I don't view it as a taboo subject anymore and more something that is gonna happen to everyone, to everything, to flowers, to animals, to humans. So with that aspect, I think that it really changed my view, along with art. Art, I think I have a deeper understanding of it being in a role at the museum, trying to choose art for an exhibition, looking at it in different ways, looking at it and like outside the box other than what someone wrote for it, because that's not all there is to it. There's more outside of the writing. Um, so yes.
And one final question for you. What message do you hope other teens might take away about museums as spaces for their own voices and stories from this example of the exhibition that you and your colleagues assembled?
Right. So I think that when teens go into the exhibition, they can see that, oh, another teen did this. So that means, we can do it too. And it's not just that the museum's home for um, old people that have these long since traditions to keep a certain standard for all paintings, and that they can see that, oh, we can change something in the museum too. And it's not just for that standard.
Mhm, mhm. Christine, what advice or thoughts might you give other institutions hoping to build similar intergenerational curatorial partnerships?
Uh, be open. Just, and I mean, it's going back to like, how can you think about taking a different approach or a new approach or you know, things that are outside of your day-to-day or ordinary way of thinking, and just, just keep an open mind.
Mhm. Jordan, what are some current or upcoming collaborations that you and your colleagues are going to be participating in?
With the teens or just in general?
Yeah,
Oh,
well, with the teens for now.
mhm. With the teens, we just opened up our Nubian galleries, and over the summer, we worked with the current cohort of Curatorial Study Hall, working with the Egyptian, well, the ancient world curator, Denise Doxy, to just think about certain perspectives that would invite teens into those galleries and make it more relevant to them. And it was a couple of sessions, ended up with some interpretive choices that have really shifted the galleries and opened up how we're thinking about things. And uh, some labels that they also wrote for select objects, which was really fun. But really just trying to shift the perspective outside of Nubian objects from a perspective of excavation. Other than that, soon there'll be Curatorial Study Hall will be working for a contemporary exhibition coming up called Subvert, Repair, Reclaim, contemporary artists taking back the nude, to think about the reading nook that will be in the exhibition and just other source materials. So yeah.
Fabulous. Well, there's never a short of exciting programming at the Museum of Fine Arts for sure. Robert, going forward, do you think you'll continue or are interested in collaborating in different roles at museums?
Unfortunately, my major is, well, I won't say no because I don't know where the future will take me with my major, but as of right now, it does not look like I'll be in a museum role. But it was very informative and brought me closer to the museum.
Was I think Jordan and Christine mentioned keeping an open mind is always a good thing for all of us. In the last couple of minutes in closing, Christine, can you share some other programs, associations with community engagement to inform viewers about?
Yeah, of course, happy to do so. So we do a range of things there, as well as team programs. We do have access programs as well that falls under community engagement. And so there's a range of programming for people with disabilities and older adult communities, be it tours, workshops, and all sorts of things. You can see it on our website. Additionally, we do community celebrations throughout the year. So those are some of our larger signature events that we have. They typically happen on the third Thursday of the month. And so the next one that's coming will be Hanukkah. So that's on December 18th. So I highly encourage everyone to come in and enjoy the evening with us.
Fabulous, fabulous. Well, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the program. I want to thank all of you once again for taking the time to be here. Fascinating to hear about both the exhibition and the wonderful collaboration with different age groups to produce this outstanding exhibition. Continued success for all of you with future endeavors.
Thank you for having us.
Also want to thank you for tuning in and hope you'll be able to join us next time.